Let's take a look at what we'll see in the Chapter 6 lab assignment in my math lab. We're going to come across some percents, so we'll do a quick little review of working with percents. Remember, if you have a percent, let's say like 41%, we need to change that percent to a decimal. So changing them to a decimal would be 0.41. Or 6%, excuse me, that says 5%. We need to work with changing percents to decimals, so that would be 0.05. Once we change those to decimals, then we can work the problem. Excuse me, like 41% of 5 kilograms. 0.41 times 5. If I wanted 5% of 800, 0.05 times 800. So quick review of percents. Average. How do you find an average? Well, you know that to calculate your grade, you just add them up and divide by how many that you have. So if I wanted to find the average temperature, I would add all those guys up. So add them all up. And then since I have how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 7, so we're going to divide that by 7, and that'll give us our average. The next part is just dealing with square roots, and you're going to use your calculator for that. Sometimes the answer is going to be a whole number, like the square root of 121 is 11. Sometimes the answer will be a decimal, like the square root of 27. And we want to round those to the nearest tenth. So if I did the square root of 27, and rounded that to the nearest tenth, I would end up with 5.196. So I would call that 5.2. Problem number 9. We want to plug in some values for some variables. So I want to put a -6 for the variable r and a 5 for the variable s, and then perform that operation. So a -6 in place for r would be a -6 squared, and notice I put that -6 in parentheses because the negative is squared with the 6, minus 2 times, for s we'll put in a 5 squared. And then we could work that out. -6 squared would be a positive 36. 2 times 25, because 5 squared is 25. So 36 minus 50 would give us our answer. What is that? I get a -14. Whoops. And then the last question is doing the same thing, plugging in some values. In this case for A, we'll put a 0 in place for A and figure it out. Once we have that value, we'll put it right here and then plug in a 1 in place for A and put that value in this table and continue completing that table. So if I put a 0, let's just put a 0, I'd have 0 squared plus 2 times 0 minus 5. What's going to be 0 plus 0 minus 5? So that would be a -5. So I'd put a -5 in that spot. Do the same thing with the 1, 2, -1, and -2 to complete this table. I think you'll be able to get through this just fine. So I'll stop the video right here. Always email me if you have any questions.